Go.
All right, can you speak about your feud with Savage and him as a person?
Oh, wow. Randy.
I was dying to ask this question.
Oh, man, it was, Randy would talk to me. He'd pull me aside in different bars, and he'd tell me I had too many gimmicks, you know, and he would smarten me up to little things. Yeah. You know, where Jake would just tell me blunt, like, why would you do that? That was fucked up. Don't do that. Or he would ask me why, and then he'd go, wow, I like what you did there. Jake would do that. When it came to Randy, it took me a while to build that. Never got what me and Jake had, but it was pretty close.
You said, excuse me 1 second, you said he used to tell you that you had a lot of gimmicks. All right, I want you to explain what's that, because a lot of fans that watch my site do not know what that means exactly. So I want you to explain exactly what he was doing when he did that.
I had a lot of gimmicks, from, you know, the rhinestone glasses, to the cigar, to the gum, to the numbers, to the crazy clothes, you know, that really, like, Savage had crazy clothes, but they actually made sense. You know, like, it was like, it was color coordinated.
Nice. It looked nice.
Whatever he was doing, it was tight.
Yeah.
And there was a reason why he was so over. When he came to cutting the promo, there was sometimes where you were like, I don't know what the fuck he just said, but he's pissed and the shit's on. You know, because he was an intense motherfucker. That's the way he was. And never learned so much until we actually got in the ring together. And the first couple times I got in the ring with Randy, where it was a house show, meaning no cameras, he was light. I mean, he was like a dancer. He's like Fred Astaire. It's like, no wonder this guy's lasted, because at the time I was 40, and he was like 3 or 4 years older than me. You know, so he was up around 30, 43, 44, you know, and to be going as long as he went and off the top rope and all the shit that he did, you know, was crazy for being that age and being a former professional AAA baseball player. I mean, this guy beat his body up. So I was thinking, how has he lasted like this? Because Hulk was a completely different worker than Randy.
Yeah.
Randy worked like an animal.
He go hard. Yeah.
Hard.
Yeah.
And Randy, first time I worked up with him, or I should say for a while, the couple times I did stuff with him with no cameras on, was very light. When the camera was on, I seen a big blue flash, and at times the stuff would be really snug. Other times it would still be light, but you knew you got hit by him. You knew you got hit by him. Yeah. So you came back. And all he was trying to do is bring up your intensity level, because the shit's getting soft here. So let's take it up. I'll never forget, we're in Florida, South Carolina. It's one of my favorite stories to tell. I've told on the radio a bunch. I've never told on one of these shows. Arn Anderson was the booker. And Arn had told me, you know, that you're never going to be the top guy.
Wow.
Yeah, and he told me that. And he later on would take that back. He's a straight up guy. Arn Anderson's a man's man. Yeah. So if he feels you aren't something, he's going to tell you.
Yeah.
And it was in the heat of a discussion we had. He said that to me. But later on over a cocktail, he had said, you know, taking that back, because you are. And it was very cool.
Everybody can make a mistake.
And Arn's a Hall of Famer. Arn's as good as it gets, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. But Arn was the agent that night, and he came into the locker room, and Randy and I were the last two. We were both putting our boots on, you know, and he didn't say, so Diamond, what do you want to do tonight? You worked with Randy Savage. Randy was like Hulk. He had his own deal. He controlled his own destiny, you know, his contract.
His own locker room and all that, right?
Yeah, but he also, the finish, they asked Randy, what you want to do?
Yeah.
And I'll never forget it, man. He looked up at Arn, and he went back to tying his boots, and he went, I think I want to take the diamond cutter.
Yeah, I think I heard you say that before, too.
And went back to doing his boots. That must have
been a feeling and a half, right?
It was awesome, man. It was awesome. So we went out there, we had a hell of a match, and right at the end, boom, he shut me down and went to slam me, and whoosh, 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 boom, we hit that diamond cutter, and the roof blew off.
Yeah.
And he's laying on his stomach, he's laying on his back, I'm laying on my stomach, I just crawled over, laid my arm against him, and the whole building.
I think I've seen that match.
Oh no, you couldn't have seen that. You
No?
saw me when I beat him.
Yeah.
Because it was very similar to what we did
Yeah, that's why
the night,
that's
two
what I'm
nights
saying.
before.
Yeah, it
But
sounded similar, that's why.
But what happened, when they pop 1, 2, 3 and the place goes crazy, I'm still laying there. You know, my face down in the mat, my arm laying across them. Neither one of us are moving. And I hear, well, I think we have our finish for Spring Stampede.
Wow.
I was just like, wow, really? Because I never thought I'd ever beat him.
Yeah, man.
And then when we did the other thing with him later, which Kevin Sullivan, Eric Bischoff, Savage, La Parka, and me, that was it. Knew I was going to dress as La Parka because Randy had just beat me at the next pay-per-view. And with that, I took the belt from Scott Hall, boom, and Scotty, he'll tell you, put a weapon in his hand and he's dangerous. He knocked the shit out of me, and then I took his finish, and I was half knocked out when I heard Randy come off the top rope.
Wow.
And the whole time I remember the ref going, come on, we gotta go home, we gotta go home. And what that means is if we don't finish the match like very, very, very soon, we're fucked. Because when it gets that 3 hours, part of the country, whoop, doesn't see it. It's like when you get to the end of, you know, a regular TV show. That ends and another one starts.
Yeah.
So at 3:01, if you don't have any built in, we can keep running this, you're fucked. So I know we were way down on time. And it got to the end, I remember hearing, which to me in my head meant Randy's coming up the top rope. This is gonna hurt like hell. It's just, this is what it is. He landed on you. He landed on you. First time he ever did it to me, I thought my guts were gonna.
Really?
Oh, dude, he almost killed Charles Robinson, the referee.
He gave Warrior 5 of those.
He what?
He gave Warrior 5 of them.
Who got fired?
Warrior in WrestleMania 7, I think it was.
Well, back then, Randy was still landing partially on his hip.
Oh,
If you go 10 years later.
Saying that, I'm like, what? He gave
No.
Warrior 5 of them.
The Warrior's a tough motherfucker too. On top of that,
Yeah.
you know, his resilience, and look at him today, he's still fucking a warrior. But you know, the bottom line is coming off that top rope and landing on you when he's 32 or 44 are two different animals.
He's bigger too, yeah.
And he land on you.
Yeah.
Like I pissed blood for 13 out of 16 weeks. I had the catheter stuck up my fucking cock. You know? Oh yeah, they're going, poo, looking around going, your kidneys are fucked up. You need to stop
Because of
wrestling.
that?
Yeah, landing on.
Wow.
I mean, the whole rib thing, that was a shoot.
Wow.
You know, then I just could use it once in a while after that. But I mean, they wanted me to stop, and I'm like, stop. You fucking
Crazy.
kidding me? I
Your first
worked my
biggest-
whole life. You know,
Crazy.
I ain't fucking stopping.
I hear you.
I gotta tell you this part. There was a really hot nurse that's in there with a doctor. And she was probably about 40. She was smoking hot though. And she goes, you know, no one wants my job until today. And if you tell the doctor I said that, I'll say you're a liar. So, bottom line is, he came off the top rope. Now, here's what happens. Next thing I know, I'm walking backstage with Kimberly. Did I just wrestle? She goes, what? We're
blanked
walking.
out, so you
We're
blanked
walking. We're walking.
Wow.
I go, did I just wrestle? She goes, what are you talking about?
Crazy.
I go, Kim, did I just wrestle? What the fuck? Is it Nitro?
Wow.
And she goes, Pete, you're scaring me. I said, tell me, what the fuck's happened? She goes, it's a Great American Bash. Or, I think it was Great American Bash. It was whatever the second match was. I know Spring Stampede was the first one, because Spring Stampede was my best shit ever. I mean, I won the world title 2 years later there. But the bottom line is that she told me that this is Spring's Great American Bash, and I'm wrestling Randy Savage. And I said, what happened? So if you watch that match, it's on YouTube. You'll see Scott slide in to raise Randy's hand. As Scott raised, I've seen it. As he raised his hands, I sit up about 3/4 like Undertaker, and I don't know what made me. I lay back down. It goes black. She told me I sat back up again, stood up, staggered, fell between the ropes.
Oh, I think I've seen
You
that
know,
before.
you've never seen this.
No.
This is black.
Oh, okay.
I gave him both the finger and walked to the back. I went,
That's crazy.
oh my God. Hey, forget when I did that. That's like fighting shit. Now that's shit you fight over. Because it'd be like John Wayne or Clint Eastwood, boom, 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 boom. And the heel gets up and go, hey, fuck you, you didn't hurt me. You know, it's like, did he just get up off the belt in both our finishes? I mean, they were so hot. I walked in a fucking locker room, put a table in front of me. Because I know they're both gonna come in mad as fuck. And as soon as they walked in, I go, guys, I fucking don't remember anything. I was knocked out. And they were like, fuck you. I go, I moved the table. I go, if you fucking think I'm bullshit.
That sounds so good,
oh,
man.
It was crazy, man.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it, just imagining the way you, like, talking about it. I'm like, well, that's so real. That's real, man.
It was real.
Wow.
It was crazy. And you know, they, of course, they let it go. Because I mean, you could tell. I mean, I had no idea. But then all of a sudden, I felt something in my mouth. And it turned into a grape, into a golf ball, into a half a softball. Next thing I know, my face is like this. Like within an hour. So Kim said, we got to take you to the hospital. They bring me to the hospital. Of course, I have a concussion. But I'm just happy I got this fucking thing on, looked like Alvin from the Chipmunks. And I took a picture of it and opened up my mouth so you can see it. There ain't nothing in there. That's me. So I waited on Monday night. It wasn't all the bullshit for the fucking concussions like there is today in the NFL. It was back then. You got fucking knocked out. You got knocked out.
Yeah.
You know, cowboy up, motherfucker.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm waiting. Hey, bitches. So I'm waiting for Savage to come in. It's Monday Nitro, and I can see I just know when he walks in, he got to sell this in some way. So here he comes. He's walking down the aisle, and I'm just waiting for him. And we catch eyes. And he keeps walking right up to my face, and here I am with my chipmunk cheek. He looks at me, he goes, sorry, brother. And he walked off. It was like, okay, you're okay, you're welcome. You know, he knew I didn't fuck him.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't just sitting up. And then we did the whole La Parka thing. And that was off. That was crazy. You know, when I wore the mask and all that, nobody knew. It's pretty crazy. No more smoking in here. I gotta get a fine. Oh.
Yeah, I did. I stole it.
You smoked in there? You didn't smoke in there. He's looking for a charger for this for me.
Okay, we'll make sure.
No. Alright,
How you like that glass, Jimbo?
Awesome.
I seen you manage Kurt early in his career.
Henning?
Yeah.
That was a trip.
Can you speak about him from his early career, then when you know,
Yeah.
the differences and, you know?
I tell you, Kurt Hennig was one of the coolest motherfuckers I ever met in my life. He, my first night in the AWA, I was in the back. We would film 4 TVs, and we'd film our show. And it was in a showboat, and sometimes they would, revolve the crew. There was like 2,500 people out there. It was a pretty good house. And it was my first day, so I really didn't know shit. And by my 3rd show, I was in the back, and I brought this trunk with all these outfits and shit. I must look like such a mark coming in there, because I didn't know anything. And Henning was sitting over there and putting on another pair of whatever the fuck I'm putting on. He goes, Diamond, say it. Say what? Just say it. Come on, say it. I go, say what? He goes, good God. I go, good God. He goes, fuck, I love that. So we were at the bar later that night, and he taught me the most important thing in professional wrestling anyway. He said, you will build more relationships out here in this bar than you will ever build anywhere else in the ring. And because the boys are very social, at least they were through that period, from the 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s. And he was right, man. You know, you build just like you build relationships on a golf course. You build relationships on a bar after the night, talking about the match. And who really gives a shit about the match and talk about it in the car and the psychology at the bar, and you know, you get caught up in it, and that's how you become better. Yeah. And it was Larry the Axe, who was, his dad was a top guy back in the day, and a bad motherfucker. Yeah. And he said, you two guys look good together. He goes, have you guys, you know, to the Curry, he said, my dad said, maybe I should try to bring you into as my manager. And I was like, man, I'd been in the business like 3 days. By the third month, he's saying that to me. It didn't happen because, you know, again, Pat Patterson would have seen I was 6'4", my cowboy boots on. I'd be 6'8", so that was never going to happen anyway. But it was very cool because Henning was another guy. Michael P.S. Hayes was another guy. Dusty Rhodes was another guy. They would return my phone calls when I was nobody.
You managed the Freebirds, right?
Yeah. But before I did that, I met him at a TV, and we drove in the car for 300 miles.
So that was cool already.
Yeah, but he knew I wasn't there to be a TV star. I was there because I loved wrestling, and I wanted to understand it on a way that I could make sense of it on TV. Whether it was an interview, a match is way harder. You know, the psychology of a match and getting people to actually give a shit. You know, it's easy to make people hate you.
Yeah.
Really fucking hard to get people to like you.
Yeah.
Never mind love you.
Yeah. Your thoughts on Eric Watts as a worker? You worked with him in TNA, and why did you end up leaving TNA?
Watch.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I heard I read that he was garbage through a book that somebody wrote. I forgot, so I want to get your opinion. What you think?
Eric Watts is a great guy. A really great guy. Yeah. And a great athlete that was shoved down the people's throats on WCW because his dad came in as a booker, which knowing his dad is so smart psychology-wise in the business. I mean, Bill Watts created a lot of unbelievable stars from Junkyard Dog out, you know. That didn't make sense to me. You know, later on, like, the heat would comes with being the booker's son and being shoved down someone's throat. Yeah. You know, beating Arn Anderson, that was like a sacrilege, you know. But Eric just dealt with it, you know. You know, he rolled with whatever, you know, because he knew the business. He grew up in the business. He's very smart to the business. The guy was a great athlete, man, A to Z.
Wasn't he a collegiate wrestler?
He was a collegiate wrestler, but he was mainly a football player. That was his main thing. But he was a shooter, you know.
I read he was a shooter. That's why.
But him and I would become really, really tight. And it's funny because he came in those last 3 months, 1990 or 91, whatever it was, and on Pro Wrestling Illustrated, he got Rookie of the Year, and I was number 2. But it was only because of the dad thing. Because I had earned that spot, but I didn't give a shit because he was a straight guy and became one of my very closest friends. And then in the, and I got to put this over because I was talking about it today to Lita, Amy, or whatever you want, you know, Amy Dumas, or Lita, I think one of the best female wrestlers ever. Yeah. I think she was amazing. She was one of the best. And what a class act. Her story, if you haven't read her book, if you're watching this, go read it, because she's an amazing individual. Yeah. But, why did I bring that up? It's ADD. Lita Watts. God, what was I talking about?
Watts, you went off to Lita? I
went off to Lita for some reason. I don't know. That's my ADD and a half of wine. And plus, I was doing a signing with Lita today. The part I wanted to make with Lita is that she actually, her story of manifesting a dream into reality, She was telling me this earlier today, how she said, I'm going to be a wrestler, a lucha libre wrestler, and went to Mexico to train, not knowing anyone. And how her whole career flip-top around from her saying she was going to be a wrestler to being on the WWF's television, now WWE, is a year and a half. And that girl had so much skills coming out of it. It was amazing how that whole thing got put together. But I want to go back to Watts, which we were talking about earlier. If Eric just would have been given an opportunity, and because he was given so much in the front, and I remember Dusty Rhodes saying, the sins of the father will come down on the son. You know, and like back in the old days, guys who might have gotten heat because they had too much power or whatever, you know, it could come down and hit them, and it hit Eric.
It's understandable, yeah.
You know, and that's where, I mean, Eric Bischoff didn't like Eric Watts. You know, because he
was running the company at that time?
He was running
Bischoff?
well, later on, after, you know, it was
While
Eric
Watts was
Bischoff.
there? While Watts was there?
Well, I helped bring him back. Because I think Eric Watts could have been a top guy in the business. He could talk, he had charisma, he had the size.
I think he just needed to get in a little more better shape. I think
that's
his body looked awkward. That's the only thing I seen really wrong with him.
Well, you know, and I think that's the thing with Canyon too. When we talked about Chris, you know, I used to say, Chris, it's not just how good you can work, unless you're Dick Murdoch. You know, there's one Dick Murdoch. You know, you need to work on the body, and eventually Chris did. And Eric, you know, there was so many things that like boom kept hitting him down, and I just think he could have been I think he'd have been amazing, you know, because he had all the tools, you know.
Yeah, I know you work with Colonel De Beers in AWA.
God, man, you really go back there.
These are guys I watched as a kid, and I just wondered about them. I just want to hear what you got to say about them.
Colonel De Beers was again, a really nice guy to me.
I seen him when he fought Snook and threw him off the top rope in the AEW. I seen all of that.
He worked that gimmick like it was freaking real.
He had the mustache. I remember. Tell you, I've been watching this for years.
Yeah, you have. Yeah. And then again, I got Colonel at the end. He was a badass. He was a legit badass. And all those guys had to be, you know, to a certain degree, had to be. But you know, he was having this kid, me at the time, in my.
You managed him, right?
Yeah, didn't know shit. I mean, he knew more in this little pinky than I knew in my whole body. So I would just be around and try to be respectful and try to learn from those guys, you know.
Yeah.
Pat Tanaka and Paul Diamond taught me a lot. Those guys were amazing.
Yeah, I watched a documentary on Trent Acid. I read that you fought him. I know he passed away. Yeah, you fought Trent Acid, didn't you?
You talking about
independent wrestler that died?
I don't know. I might have, but I don't remember.
You don't remember?
I don't remember that name.
It's all right. Your most memorable match?
Savage. First one.
Do you have all the belts you won in your possession?
Nope. World title.
That's it?
That's it. You know, I want to go back and probably
Did they leave you with the belts, or you just got rid of them?
No.
Or lost them? Or
no, they trade them and out, and, you know, you get replicas of what you got, you know.
All right. Who do you think was the best wrestler ever to lace up a pair of boots? In your opinion?
In my opinion, as far as in not taking being over, because being over would be Hulk or Stone Cold, you know.
In your opinion?
In my opinion, I'm not fucking saying what people tell me to say. I'm saying in being the most over would be Steve or Hulk, but in being the best wrestler, Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair.
Wow, you know Shawn Michaels a lot.
Yeah,
over these past couple of years, you start hearing you just started hearing Shawn Michaels' name and that.
Well, you got to give him everything that, you know, his earlier. I mean, I was at the first day in the AWA. What they would do is they take everybody you'd meet in a room. That's where you went over, okay, guys, you're going to do, who you're going to work with, whatever. Because it was like there's two different locker rooms. And they brought me in there with the other 40 guys that were there and said, this is Diamond Dallas Page. He's going to be managing Pat Tanaka and Paul Diamond. Pat Tanaka's 5'8". He wrestles with his bare feet. I got boots on. I'm 6'7". In the bed is Shawn Michaels laying back and goes, hey, Pat, shouldn't you be managing Diamond? That's the first time I ever even saw who Shawn Michaels was.
Makes sense. Shit.
But if you take all the things that he accomplished in the matches he had, and then coming back with the fusion, and then, I mean, just everything. How he finished on top.
Earlier you said, I forgot who you was talking about. You said it was like they had it down to Macho Man. You say he had it down to where he could dance. Yeah. It was like a dance. And I think that's. I look at. I didn't understand wrestling like I do today. I was watching Triple H the other day, and I watched him, and that was when I really, I kind of said, this guy got it to a point where he don't even have to, struggle to do it. It flows right off him.
Yeah, he just.
It flows right off him.
Yeah.
And same thing with Shawn Michaels. Same thing you just said.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's true, man. Like they so smooth. Like you can see it.
Like if there's one guy I wish I could have in my prime could have worked with, it would have been Shawn.
Yeah.
Because I think we would have jived. I think the magic would have been there. And I would love to work with The Rock, obviously, and Steve Stone Cold, because we would work out in the ring, like before the shows, back when I was just learning. When I was just starting out, and Steve and I would drive a lot together.
All right, if this was your last chance to say something to your fans, loved ones, and everyone who supported you over the years, what would it be?
Fuck you.
Wow. You serious?
No, I'm kidding.
I was going to say, because New Jack did that to me too. I'm like, oh.
I just, it's not so much the fans, it's the people who didn't think I could.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a picture, it's the last color picture in my Positively Page book. I'm holding the belt up. And I say to those of you who said I could never or would never, nothing or no one could have motivated me more. Because when you tell me, I was talking to a buddy of mine earlier, what motivates you more? Being told you can do this, you just gotta work harder. Or, you know what? What are you wasting your time for? You're never gonna be able to pull this off. Oh, really? No, you're never going to. Do you know? I'm going to share this story with you. And it's 2 segues I'm going to put into this. I was meeting with a Hollywood producer, and he'd done some big stuff. And he supposedly had some other stuff coming. It's never really turned into anything. But just to get that meeting with this guy was a big deal. And he was a fan. So people who are fans treat you different than Hollywood people who aren't. Because then you're like, oh, the wrestler guy. Okay, boom, whatever. So, I told him what I was doing. I came out to Hollywood. I'm studying with Howard Fine. I've worked my way up to his master's class, blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to become a working actor in Hollywood. And he said to me, Diamond, I watched your career from the AWA. I mean, he knew it all. He said that you ever achieved what you achieved was like you are the anomaly. You never should have happened. I mean, you captured lightning in a bottle.
You're inspirational, believe it or not.
And he said, do you know how hard that is? I said, yeah, I do. He said, the odds of you coming out here to Hollywood and doing it again are like 10 times harder than that. Because you've already got it once. The chance you ever getting it again are like, I gotta say, next to impossible. And so I can understand how you get to say that, but I have to disagree with you. He said, really? He said, why? I said, because I know how I did it the first time. And how I did it the first time was focusing, setting goals, and working towards them.
That's right.
And when I found out that at 47, 48, 49, 50, I'm not going to be able to go through that wall, this Hollywood world. And you're going to save this tape right here, because this will come into fruition like 5 years from now. When I realized I'm not going to be able to get through that wall, the acting end, so you know what, I'm going to go around this wall.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
Smart way to do it.
And I'm going to find a way to take this whole YRG, Yoga for Regular Guys, DDP Yoga.
That's right.
And I'm gonna do an infomercial with it that's gonna fucking eclipse what I did in professional wrestling. And somebody's gonna see that video or that infomercial and go, God, that guy's got charisma. I wonder if he can act.
Rob Zombie.
And that's how I'm gonna get the manager and the agent and all the bullshit. You cannot, Donald Trump said, I'm gonna leave you with this. For anybody who's actually been paying attention, besides having a couple glasses of wine and eating my cheese.
I'm
and
listening to
whatever.
everything you say.
Donald Trump wrote a book called Think Like a Champion. By the way, if it's not this year, it's next year. I will be on Celebrity Apprentice.
Yeah.
So,
wow. I want to see that.
Donald Trump wrote a book, Think Like a Champion. So Barbara Walters has to interview him for that book, you know. So it's on the View. Yeah, I watch the View occasionally. So she says, "What are the 3 things, Donald, that you need to do to think like a champion?" Number 1, he said, you gotta know your business. You gotta know it inside out, upside down, and if you don't, you need to be on your way to being the person who knows it all in that particular field. So number 2, you gotta love it. So you gotta love it so much that
That's right.
you literally will do it for nothing. Work 24/7,
That's right.
not give a shit, just boom, 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 work it,
That's right.
but not working. Number 3, don't quit.
Wow.
And she went, oh.
Every single fucking one makes fucking sense.
So she goes,
For real.
so Barbara says, come on, Donald. Some people should quit. And he went, nope, nobody. She goes, oh, come on, Donald. That's easy for you to say. You're Donald Trump.
Yeah, okay.
And he went, hold on, Barbara. And I don't know if he did it exactly like this, but I know if you go on YouTube, you could probably pull it up. And I believe he went, if you're talking about the person who says, I'm going to go through the wall, I'm going to go through the wall, I'm going to go through the wall, he goes, that person should quit. He said, until you figure it out, you got to go around the wall, over the wall,
right.
you know.
It's funny
under
you
the
said
wall.
that, because I swear to God, I've been in this business 7 months, 8 months. I didn't know how I was going to get my first interview when I sat down and decided to do my site. I was talking to my friend one day, and we was talking, I think I had maybe my first or second interview, so I was happy, you know, I got my first interview, my second interview, excited, you know. But then I started thinking, I said, yo, you know what? Because I know how this business is. I know it's hard to get in, I know people keep you out. I said, I'm gonna come in the back door. I said, watch, I'm gonna come in the fucking back door, watch me. And that's exactly what I did, same thing you're saying now. Working around, walking around.
A goal is not A and B. It might be A and Z. And there's going to be a lot of BCQRSTUVW going to take you all over. You're going to fall down. You got to pick yourself back up. I want to be a working actor. I am not Dwayne Johnson. 27 years old or 28 years old or 32 years old, whenever he was going to Hollywood, stud, friggin', I mean, everything to Dwayne, he's had to work for. And he's played everything absolutely perfect. And he's done it better than anybody ever in our business. So, I never expect that ride. My ride is, boom, get knocked down, boom, get told you're not gonna do it, keep moving
You did
forward.
that already though.
And now I want to become a working actor at some point.
You did it.
Yeah, I know I've done movies, but when I
That
say
Rob
working
Zombie
actor,
movie was good.
when I say working
The
actor,
character was good.
I know,
Everything.
but that's not going to pay the bills. Rock makes $12 billion a movie or whatever stupid money he makes.
Yeah.
My point is that I don't need to make that kind of money. I just want to become a working actor at some point, and it'll come when DDP Yoga. And this month.
Yeah.
This month, right here, my company has gone, like, there's people all over the world that's ordering it. And it's going worldwide.
That's good, man.
And it's just the infancy.
All right,
of where it's gonna
now that
go.
we talking about that real quick, I didn't mention that, you invented that, right?
Well, there's no inventing. I'm
Yoga
a guy,
for men.
Yeah, well,
It
yoga for
never
regular
existed
guys.
before, right?
Yeah, there was people who did versions of it, but nothing like I did it. I'm a guy who wouldn't be caught dead doing yoga the first 42 years of my life.
Yeah.
I did it out of necessity because I blew out my back, and they said my career was done. I just signed a multi-million-dollar deal.
Oh,
So again, I took something and made it my own. And I
yeah,
tell
keep
people,
in shape. You made
no
it
matter what-
happen.
yeah, no matter who you're trying to follow or do, take the 5 best people you think did it the best and take a little piece of each one of them and then make it your own. For yoga,
Whatever works for you.
right, for yoga, I knew it helped my body, but I wasn't into all the spiritual mumbo jumbo. Not that there's anything wrong with that. The people like Kimberly and people who I know, they love this part. That don't work for me. I want the moves and the rehab moves and the old school calisthenics and shit that's gonna jack me up and get my heart rate pumped up so I can have a hell of a workout. That's all I give a shit about.
Yeah.
That has no impact on my body. So this month of May 2012, my company became $1 million company. And yeah, $1 million
Wow,
company.
congratulations, man.
So it's all the hard work is finally paying off.
Congratulations, man.
And it's something that's going to help me transcend to get to the next goal. And I love it because teamddpyoga.com helps a lot of people, and I've got people who are 600 pounds on that site.
Wow.
It's not a weight loss program. It just happens to be a really cool side effect.
Okay.
It's about strength, flexibility, personal stamina, and the drive to force through whatever you're trying to get through to get to the other side. That's really what it comes down to.
Do you mind if I advertise a little bit on my site?
What do you mean advertise?
Just so tell people you can get yoga from men, tell them where to get it,
Oh,
things
God,
like that.
sure, fuck yeah.
You gotta give me the information.
I will.
All right, I just have 2 more questions, and we
Two more.
need
We gotta
two
go. Time we got
quick
you.
questions. They're real quick.
7 minutes 10.
Is that restaurant? I would tell that the restaurant's open till downstairs. Just call them.